I said because I never feel the need to appropriate how I speak, and when I get passionate, my tone and New York City accent is front and center. I'm viewed as ghetto. This is who I am, and I'm not going to change that to make others comfortable. But then I don't take it a step further by challenging people on their views because I feel outnumbered and I'm afraid of the way people will take it. We had taken a vote about allowing everyone to join a team, and I stated it should be earned, and another member agreed. So, because I'm the outspoken one, it was my job to let those who didn't make it know. Which, if you know me, I don't have a problem with doing that because, hey, I mean, we are a team, right? Like, it was we made a decision as a team. I made a comment on how hard it was to do so, and I was met with a sneer of how I made this decision as if I had made it alone. But notice that the other person was always praised, like, well, this was you wanted this like this. And I'm like, it wasn't just me who said that I wanted it like this. I was like, what was that about?
Yeah.
So it didn't sit well with me. I have to say I felt more ease though at FCRD than at BRG. BRG was the one in St. Joe because I was the only person of color on that league at one time. And it's a small town with people that have never really traveled or experienced other cultures. So I only had a handful of people that actually knew my situation because you never want to give someone ammo to fire at you. It was to give someone, it was fun. And I decided to keep myself guarded and never speak on things surrounding race and always prided myself in being a strong person. So people knew not to come at me too crazy.
Yeah.
In those days, I had to worry about my kids, and until 2016, when it slapped me in the face that it matters what my skin tone and social status was, more than I cared to realize in the past. Yet, I still remain quiet when faced with opportunities to educate because I felt I would only be seen as problematic. I'm sure all of this is going to be viewed as that for some, but I'm tired of not saying anything. I was voted in as Block of the Year and lost because two voters, one was the other person's teammate and the other was his coach, decided they were going to, and I was just like, so what about, and mind you, he got Jammer of the Year too.
Hmm.
um, so then, not saying he didn't deserve the other, but he was mostly a jammer, where I was always a blocker.
Mm-hmm.
So that was weird to me. I was like, well, I guess it doesn't matter what positions we play or whatever. So that didn't sit with me either, and I didn't say anything. Again, in my mind, I won just being nominated anyway because I know I earned that title at the end of the day. I also know that people are not aware that what they do can even be viewed this way, but that's my fault too, and I will take responsibility for it. But people need to know it needs to change. So that's what I had written that I wanted to like clarify.
Clarify. I I think the thing again, I keep hearing you say, well, that's my fault, or I hadn't told people. And again, it goes back to me. People need to check themselves.
I know what you're saying, and I do
Yeah.
this to myself all the time because I'm
Yeah.
so used to being this way.
Yeah.
I'm so used to giving people a pass to treat me a certain way, and that does have to stop. Like I do have to like stand firm in this is not your fault. You know what I mean? Like if it makes you feel bad, they know that they're making you feel bad. Some
Yeah.
people do know that they're doing it purposely, and you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and not taking into account my
Yeah.
feelings, or anyone that's in my.
Yeah. Well, and I keep hearing the same themes over and over and over too. When I talked to Dreadlocked and Loaded, she said people come to her and they're like, educate me, help me understand. And she's like, that's not my job, you
It's
know?
not, and I'm exhausted. But this is why
Yeah.
I decided to do this too, because I am exhausted. I
Yeah.
know she's exhausted for sure, but I am definitely in my own right exhausted because I go through not just get emotional.
It's fine.
I don't get it just from whites. I get it from blacks too. So it's hard for me.
It's okay.
Because I'm like a melting pot, Hispanics or Puerto Ricans. I'm just gonna keep it on me.
Yeah.
Um, because I'm not dark, and I'm not light, and I'm not, complete. Like Mexicans look at me funny because I don't speak their dialect of Spanish, and then black folk don't know how to take me because I'm not white, but I'm not black either. You know what I mean? Like, even though I know that I am, I know who I am, but I go through a lot with that too,
Yeah.
you know. So it's not easy, in this position. Like, yeah, it's pretty rough. Here's the problem, the only issue that I have that I really want people to make sure they understand. Okay, because there's colorism and there's racism within, not racism, it's colorism really
Yeah.
within our own people, within Puerto Ricans or whatever. But that doesn't give anyone else pass to go ahead and throw more salt onto the wound. You know what I mean? Like, well, you guys are doing it to yourselves, so who? You know what I mean? I've
Right.
heard things of that nature, and that's not okay.
Yeah.
And we need to do better within our own. I get that, but I don't need you to come and try to like, well, you're doing it, so it's okay because you're doing. No, it's not okay. Like at the end of the day, it's not okay for anyone. Period. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
because unfortunately, we're, well, like look at back in the day, the house Negroes were viewed as better than the Negroes in the plantation. The plantation Negro wasn't as good as the house Negro. You know what I mean? Like that's that same mentality.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not a good look, and it's not okay.
Yeah.
You know, because we
Yeah.
still have that till this day. I've seen it a lot in Puerto Rican groups that I've been in that I've had to like remove myself from because I just couldn't. I was just
Yeah.
like, I cannot believe we're still here in 2021. Like
Yeah.
we're in 2021.
Yeah.
When is it gonna end?
I wondered what your thoughts were too on, as we were kind of, as I brought up the policy changes. I I think about what Foxy was telling me, and it's interesting because like KCRW has it in their policies, or in a statement that you sign when you first join the league, that you will not, racism is not tolerated, anti-LGBTQ discussions are not tolerated. There are certain things that are just not tolerated, and if you're caught saying them, whether it's on social media or
Outside, it doesn't matter.
yeah, it doesn't matter. And that's where I started thinking about, in your situation. And I know that like, you kind of got a hand slap or whatever you want to call it when you had called somebody out. But in like, just as an example, in KCRW policies, had it been a member of the league that had made that racist comment in the first place, by the policy, they should have been kicked out of the league.
Mm.
Um, which mean, it never would have, well, it might have still gotten to the part where you were frustrated and angry and said what you said. But at the same time, um, I think, excuse me, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, then do policies need to change? Do leagues need to go in and actually just, yeah, like, what are we missing? What are we, so if somebody makes a comment like, do you eat monkey? That's not acceptable. I know
Like that was
I keep bringing that up, but, so that, I mean, and maybe this is also at the beginning of every season, leagues need to have, I don't know if it's sensitivity training
it might be necessary to do that at this time because honestly, it's just too much. It's just too much. It is. It's just too much. Here's the awareness that people, but then at the same time, it's on TV all the
yeah,
time. You can't turn on the tube without seeing it.
yeah.
So is it something that they don't know, or is it something that they choose not to care? You know what I mean? But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I
Yeah.
know this much. It hurts, and it's not okay. And if I'm if I was still part of the ownership, I would say yes, it needs to be done at this point. It needs to be.
Do you feel like as now not part of ownership, but as a skater, you can help influence any of that change, or do you feel like it's
Oh
you get
yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, definitely. I still feel like I could. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. And not. I feel like I could. I definitely am going to actually. I'm gonna have a conversation with someone. Yeah.
Yeah. And you did say, I don't think I was recording when you told me this, but you said that there's, it sounds like Fountain City's doing some inclusivity work.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
and
they're going out now and they're marketing to lower income communities. I think that's what it said on our league meeting. They had their leadership meeting notes, and I thought that was fantastic that
yeah,
they were doing that. I was like, wow, that's awesome. It's about time.
yeah,
We do need to be able to have everyone should be able to play derby. Like that's cool, and the fact that they're sponsoring, someone or people. I don't know how many. I can't remember what it was that it was said, and I thought all those things were a step toward the right direction for sure.
in the bigger picture, as we're thinking about how to move forward, and particularly as we're coming out of all of this COVID stuff and figuring out how to start playing bouts again,
Mhm.
um, what does it look like moving forward? And this is a perfect opportunity to reset and make things
That
right.
is true. That is true.
Yeah.
And I just, I, and I want to say something in regards to Foxy's experiences because her experience are hers. But you know, I really believe that people knew what they were doing. You know what I mean? Because you play mind games with someone enough, it's going to affect them in a lot of ways. So with her, I love Foxy.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that she's a guarded person for a reason. Like,
Yep.
I just think, I mean, we're all guarded in a sense for a reason. You know
Yep.
what I mean? I think people don't know how to take me a lot because of that. But it's we've been through a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
you know, and we're the minority for real. Like, especially in Derby, there's really not that many of us. What, seven, eight of us in my league? I mean, it's rough. It's not easy, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, and she made that same comment Foxy did too about being guarded, and that's kind of culturally how she was raised. And so, she's like, I don't want people to see me sweat. And, I know, I mean, we're all derby players. We don't, none of us like to be emotional. But at the same time, when you've been brought up that way, I think talking about it, can be hard. Um, and I've seen all of you get emotional, but this is, again, it's a common theme. I heard it from Dreadlocked and Loaded. I heard it from Foxy. I'm hearing it from you. Sing Machine didn't talk about this as much, but I mean, all of you have said, I don't, I guard myself from people that I know have hurt me. Um, Foxy was like, I'm going to tell you to your face. And I get that. I mean, I sense that you're a little less willing to be that way, but at the same time, if you have to, you will.
Right. Don't back me into a corner. That's
Yeah.
like
Yep.
I'll let a lot of things go, but don't back me into a corner.
Yeah.